Welcome back. Let's take you to this now. The private association of Rhino Conservation Reserves says the involvement of government officials in poaching-related criminal activities should be dealt with swiftly and with harsh consequences. Now, this follows the reinstatement of a long-serving nature conservation official in the Northwest who was arrested and charged in 2021 for alleged poaching-related offences. Mxolisi Stephen Maqoboza, together with three other co-accused, including known game traders and businessmen Schalk, Steyn and Dawie Groenewald, are facing 8 counts linked to the dehorning of rhinos at a game farm in the Northern Cape and the transportation of their horns from there through the Northwest to Mpumalanga without the required permits. Now, let's get reaction. We're now joined by Pieter, a South African chapter of the Game Rangers Association of South Africa, and he's the chairman. Mr. Nell, thank you so much for your time. So, SANParks employees will soon be subjected to polygraph testing. And this we heard in the course of this week. Now, this is in a bid to curb the rampant wildlife poaching crimes. I mean, is this a step in the right direction in the fight against poaching, you think?
Thank you. And from the Game Rangers Association, we certainly support the step. I think it's something that should have been done quite a long time ago. And I think it's something that needs to be done in other conservation agencies as well. I think what is important is that polygraph testing or ranger integrity is just one of the tools in the toolbox, like training or equipment or something that is required to mitigate against poaching in protected areas. So I think it's definitely something that should have been done a while ago.
What are some of, the steps that you do take, in trying to mitigate the poaching? I mean, in some areas we know that poaching has drastically come down, but it still is a problem, particularly in South Africa. Just what are some of the steps that will help, in as far as this is concerned? Because we know, of course, in most cases, the polygraph tests aren't admissible in court.
Yes, well, I think the primary, one of your primary goals would be to make sure that you've got a very strong and reliable team. The value of patrols and responses to intrusions and so on cannot be overestimated. And polygraph testing is one of the tools and so on to get to a ranger team that is reliable, that is functional, and that would be able to deal with anti-poaching operations. I think what is important also is that polygraph testing is not necessarily to say that the rangers are corrupt and they are working with poaching syndicates. I think it should be viewed from a point of view that we would like to ascertain the integrity of the rangers. I think even the rangers among themselves are asking for polygraph test because they are aware of some of their colleagues and so on that is involved with illegal activities. So, so it would be it is an opportunity also for the rangers to demonstrate that they are not involved with illegal activities and that they are still fully committed to the area. In addition to that, of course, suppliers like cameras and like technology in all kinds of shapes and sizes also improve the ranger force. But also that there's always a need for equipment. There's also always a need for vehicles, and all of these things together, makes it a team that can be. That can effectively deal with poaching in a specific area.
Mr. Nell, your sound is not really that great. So as we wrap up our conversation, of course, and amid the ever dwindling numbers of rhinos in South Africa especially, how effective would you say dehorning has been, as a temporary safeguard against poaching?
Well, we've seen that dehorning work in most of the areas. There are areas that there is almost between 80 and 90% decline in poaching in those areas that has been dehorned. But I think it's a matter of time when all populations are going to be equal again, and then that little stump that is left behind is going to be so much more valuable. And I think, you know, poaching syndicates then might even go for those small bits of horn that is left. So at the moment, it seems very successful, and I know a lot of areas, even in the Greater Kruger and in Isambelo, they are also busy doing operations, and it seems effective. But as I say, it's a temporary arrangement, and we will see how poaching syndicates is going to respond to dehorned populations in the future.
Indeed. Mr. Nal, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate your comments there. Pieter Nal from South Africa chapter of the Game Rangers Association of Africa.